Had a unique way of interacting with America's favorite pastime. For over 100 years, fans of all ages have adopted the art of scoring the game of baseball. And no matter what the format or system used, they all have the ultimate goal of recording every detail of a game on a single sheet of paper. It has been said that no two fans will score a baseball game with the same exact system. He's got him. Cargo lays out, makes the catch. Pitch by pitch, play by play, the symbols and the precision in which they are used are as unique as the fans that create them. Tonight, we celebrate the timeless art of baseball scorekeeping. It's Rockies baseball on Root Sports. Well, tonight on a beautiful autumn afternoon, the Rockies getting ready to take on the Cincinnati Reds from 20th and Blake. Perfect night for baseball as the Rockies welcome in Dusty Baker's Reds. And good evening, everybody, with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Well, when did you learn how to score a baseball game?
Freshman year in high school. Our coach made us sit behind, as they do in the minor leagues now, and chart all the games and then report back how many strikes, balls, all that kind of stuff. So you had to learn in the ninth grade for sure. You kind of guessed my way through it till then. But, yeah, that was the big part.
You know, I remember growing up, and I did this in basketball also, and I'm sure my dad taught me how to score a game. I would watch the Mets games, and to stay in it, I would write out the lineup, and I'd write out the lineup for the other team, and I would, when I was little, probably 10 years old, I would score the games.
Well, it keeps you in the game. That's one thing for sure. I think a lot of people now, the one thing I don't keep track of now because I don't have to is the pitch counts and how many balls, strikes, all that kind of stuff. I don't do that anymore, but you had to. But I think if you sit down and watch a game and you score the game and you do it with your kids or you do it with even my dad if he was still alive, then it keeps you involved in the game and what's going on during the process of a game.
And I know you get this because I get this quite a bit. People may not realize this, but George and I, when Jeff's up here, we score the game. We have to score the game. It's how we stay in it, and we'll show you our systems throughout the evening tonight. We'll also take some of your questions a little bit later about how you perhaps score the game. So we'll do all of that tonight. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about tonight's game more specifically, and Jhoulys Chacín's return to the mound. split a 4-game set in Cincinnati earlier this summer. But they have dominated Cincinnati over the last few years, winning 21 of 26. Back upstairs with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Big weekend for the Rockies. A kind of little glimpse at the future in terms of their young rotation. CIN, a lot of people forget, George, is just 23. Alex White turned 23 a few days ago. And the kid we'll see on Sunday, Drew Pomeranz, is just 22.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I mean, a trade, you're going to find out and look at some kids. And please don't make judgment over this weekend or what they've done in 2 or 3 starts here at the big league level. They are young kids. And tonight you get Yolisa paired with Willen Rosario, who caught him in Casper. That's how far these two go back. So it's been a while since they've been paired up and know each other very well. And CIN, his last start, pitched pretty well. You see a lot of movement on his fastball. He's thrown 170 innings. That's a career high for him, folks. If he goes 6, 7, 8 innings tonight, it wouldn't surprise me to not see him again this year, only because they're being very cautious of the innings mounting up on him. And quite honestly, right now, the Rockies 15 and a half out.
Well, Jim Tracer is saying he'd like to see him in a perfect world throw about 24 more innings this year and be in the mid 190s. But again, he's a puppy still. He's 23. He's just been very good, so he got here very quickly. We are set for baseball, and we hope you are set at home to score a little baseball tonight. It's the Rockies and Reds. Come on back to Coors Field with us. On Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Ford Fiesta with 40 mpg. It's a pretty big deal. Ford Fiesta, drive one. By CenturyLink. Quest is now CenturyLink. Your link begins here. Find out more at CenturyLink.com. By Sonic, you've got 2 hands for a reason. Put the kick and Coney in one and the bacon and Blue Dog in the other. They're doing only at Sonic for $1.99. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at southwest.com. Just a little more than a couple weeks left in the 2011 campaign. Tonight, game number 144 for the Rockies. They come in at 67 and 76, and the Reds are 70 and 73, the defending National League Central Division champions. Well, don't forget to log on to rootsports.com. Click on the For Fans Only tab. Then click Scorecard to download your original Kyle Bannister scorecard. You can score the game with us tonight. Kyle's the gentleman who designed that particular scorecard. George and I will share with you our individual scorecards. That's the other thing. It's not only is scorekeeping somewhat individual. People modify systems all the time, but your scorebook, especially for what we do, George, gets altered. You kind of take some things you've seen other people do, perhaps, and I know I've made modifications through the years. I've used the same one for a few years, but part of what we do.
Absolutely we do, and this is kind of what I do. I make sure I keep all my pitchers left, right on one page, the defense set up. The numbers you see underneath each name is how many errors they have committed on the year, so I automatically know where I'm going to. The bullpen set up against the Rockies offense, defense type thing. And of course on the other side you'll have the regular scorebook where you keep score.
So Brandon Phillips will step in to begin things. Brandon at 298. Trying to become the first Red second baseman to hit over 300 since Brett Boone did it in 1994. And Jhoulys Chacín on the hill for the Rockies. He was skipped in his last start. He was running a little bit of a fever. He had some tonsillitis, and as George alluded to in the open, probably wasn't the worst thing in the world,
no,
just to back off some innings.
Sure, back off a little bit of the innings. The Rockies have done that throughout the minor leagues, have a history of that in the month of August. Guys, my innings start to mount up, back them off a little bit, make them stronger for the finish. Making his 28th start of the year, Jhoulys, as you look now, 11-10 record. He'd like to change things the last 12 starts. 3-6, 486 earned run average. After the first 15, things went smooth. 8-4 with a 271 earned run average.
And the opposition, with the highest batting average they've had against them all year, a whopping 224.
Well, the one thing he has to correct is the walks. He leads the National League among starting pitchers with 78. Lincecum 77, and Billingsley 76. Three pretty good pitchers.
And this is slowly hit to third. Kuzminoff up with it, and on the move throws to Todd Helton. That's right, Todd is back in there after missing the last series with the back stiffness. Good to see number 17 on the field as always. Here's the rest of Dusty Baker's lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Dave Chappelle will be in left field. Joey Votto, last year's MVP, is having another terrific year. He'll bat third. Then Jay Bruce having the best year of his career. Juan Francisco, a kid they like a lot at third base. Drew Stubbs can fly. Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Homer Bailey. And Chacín with strike one on Chappelle. One ball, one strike as we take a look at the Rockies defensively. They'll have Seth Smith in left field, Dexter Fowler's in center, and Carlos Gonzalez in right. Kuzminoff and Chris Nelson at short. Look at that alignment in a second. This ball's well hit, and it's going to take one hop and go over the wall. A ground rule double. So Chappelle, a one-out double in front of Joey Votto. He hit that a long way. Well, one of the things George and I are going to do throughout the evening is show you how we telestrate, and George and I do this part in a similar manner. Those lines are a little crooked, but that's basically how we would do it in the lower right-hand corner. I know, George, because you and I have been together so many years, that's how you do it as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you bet I do. And I think one of the easiest ways to do that too is you watch fans at home. Some will write the GR double, like it's your ground rule double, because the ball bounced into the stands, versus a regular double. We saw that earlier on the scorecard.
And one of the things that I know I rely on is, I may not have good long-term retention, but I have pretty good short-term retention. So I have made a mental note already that, when we see Chappelle later in the ball game, I'll remember the direction it went, because some people will actually put an arrow and say, left center field with that hit. And I remember those things. Don't ask me the score of the game on Tuesday. I can't remember. 2-0 on Votto, and he pulls this one foul.
Well, that's one thing about it. You can ask him whether they won or lost, because he'll know that part. But if when balls started to get hit, when they didn't get hit, all those things, no, might not know those.
I've never asked you that, George. You let it go?
As a player?
No, just, I mean,
yes.
In terms of your memory, I mean.
Well, there's certain things I remember, certain guys hitting home runs and things, or good outings a pitcher may have against a team. But normally I just say goodbye to it because of all the media coverage you have now and what you can go back and look up through your computer system, games you can pick.
Two and two on Joey Votto.
Lowest batting average with runners in scoring position in Rock's history. If you look at the batting average, National League leaders, tough out here.
He's a tough out. He gets on base all the time. He's walked 100 times this year. He has the highest on base percentage in the National League at above 420.
The lowest average runners in scoring position in Rock history, CIN has it at 167. Joe Kennedy, the late Joe Kennedy, 197, Ubaldo a couple of years, and Roger Bailey in 1997.
So Pelt at second base, a one-out double. Here's the 2-2, and he got it. Off-speed pitch, and CIN strikes out the great Joey Votto for the second out.
Well, you don't see that very often, particularly since Votto leads the National League in runners in scoring position average at 393. Slow hook, not a lot of break to it, but a great location on the outer half. Got him way out on his front foot. You don't see that often either. Very unorthodox swing by Votto.
And another tough out, Jay Bruce, 29 home runs, 99 RBIs, both career best for Bruce. And he's had a very good September, hitting .345 so far in the month. What an ideal night for baseball. I know we say that a lot here. We're so fortunate to live in Colorado. 73 degrees, just ideal. I was talking to Dusty Baker around the batting cage before the ball game, and Dusty, as you know, George, because you go way back with Dusty, big fisherman, and he loves coming here.
Oh, he likes to come here, particularly yesterday. They had an off day, and it gives you an opportunity to go spend a little time in the mountains, do a little fly fishing.
Dusty has his son with him. Everybody remembers his son when he was tiny, and he ran out to home plate to retrieve a bat when the game was still going on. And who was it?
It was in a World Series.
Yeah, it was in the World Series. You know who grabbed him? It was JT Snow. Scooped him up and took him out of harm's way. Well, he's grown a little bit since then. 1-2. There's a break for CIN.
I think right after that World Series, the league changed the rule. The kids have to be 16 in order to bat boy in any situation. Smart move.
Yeah. Count remains 1-2 on Jay Bruce, just underway. Reds had yesterday off also. They were at Wrigley Field earlier in the week. Lost on Wednesday 6-3 to the Cubs. Dusty's club, a lot like the Rockies this year, just could get all the cylinders firing for a long enough period of time. And a ground ball to help. Flips to CIN. Nice job by Jolice after the one-out double by Sapel. No harm there. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Homer Bailey to the mound. In the center of the picture is Gary Renicky, who is a scout for the Baltimore Orioles. He also happens to be the father of Rockies reliever Josh Renicky, and obviously they take notations during a game. They'll score a game, and in addition to writing other stuff that we'll get to perhaps a little bit later on tonight. By the way, as we score the game, again, you can download your own scorecard to score along with us. Log on to RockyMountain.rootsports.com and click on the Just for Fans tab to download your Kyle Bannister original scorecard. He's the one who designed that particular one. Strike one, Homer Bailey to Dexter Fowler. And tonight for Dex, he is starting his 316th game in center field. And that is noteworthy because he is now tied with Juan Pierre for most starts in center field in Rockies history. Ellis Burks started 288. Preston Wilson 272. Willie Taveras fifth on the list at 195. And while we mentioned Juan Pierre, George, a big shout out to Juan. Earlier today, he got his 2,000th major league hit.
Yeah, total now of 2001. Here's how many. He got another hit today on top of that one, so he just doubled things up for himself. How about that?
Yeah, congrats to a great guy and obviously a tremendous player. That's a whole lot of hits.
Well, it's funny because they had a graphic up downstairs earlier, and Larry Bow was part of the graphic, but the highest percentage of hits that were singles, and he is one of 5 guys in the history of the game. Juan is. But as a leadoff man, that's what you're looking for.
Here's the 0-2 to Dex. Strike 3. Inside corner. Frozen with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines batting order for Jim Tracy tonight. They had to shake things up. I mentioned that Troy Tulowitzki's out of the lineup during batting practice, actually in the cage, even before they went on the field. His hip was bothering him a little bit, so he was a late scratch. So it's Ellis Gonzalez Helton in the cleanup spot, Kuzminoff, Smith, Rosario behind the plate, and Nelson at shortstop. And Chris was in a walking boot 48 hours ago because of a heel injury, and now he's playing shortstop in the big leagues for the first time. Now, he's played a lot of shortstop in his professional career in the minor leagues. He was drafted as a shortstop, but he's played a lot more third and second this year.
Well, there's that other guy that plays short for the Rockies. It's pretty good. He dominates most of the time there. What's that guy's Tulowitzki?
Yeah, but tonight not available. We'll see about tomorrow. One and two count on Mark Ellis. 2 for 4 lifetime against Homer Bailey. And make it 3 for 5. Got a fastball up, and he drilled it back through the originator. Here's Cincinnati defensively. Dave Sapeltz in left field. Drew Stubbs could fly. He's in center. Jay Bruce in right. Juan Francisco, Paul Janisch, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto in the infield, and the veteran catcher Ryan Hannigan. They have a couple of guys that have been around behind the plate. Ramon Hernandez, and also a guy in Devin Mesoraco that they like quite a bit. And a strike to Cargo.
19th start of the year for Homer Bailey. Things have not gone the way the Reds had hoped. 7-7 overall record. He doesn't walk a lot of people. He has a tendency to give up a long ball. He's a guy that is so inconsistent so far that it's made it tough for his assessment from Walt Jocketty and Dusty Baker.
This is a guy that was a high #1 draft pick. He was a sensation. He's a Texas kid, Texas high school kid. Just a sensation down there. He averaged, George, in high school almost 2.5 strikeouts an inning.
Well, that's dominant stuff, just like Beckett did when he was down in Texas and made his name for himself down there. And again, the average high school fastball 3 years ago was 79 miles an hour. Wow, what a play.
Yeah, Brandon Phillips has won Gold Gloves before, and he may win another one because he can do that. Takes a base hit from Cargo. Ellis to second base on the fielder's choice.
Showing a lot of range and moving with the pitch when it's thrown. That's why he got over to make the position to catch the baseball. Then from the knees, the quick flip over to Votto for the out. For me, it's great to watch guys going up the middle, shortstops, second baseman, to do what they do.
Yeah, and George, what I do on these, and I don't, I think you may do this also. I don't know. Obviously, it's 4-3. I know you write that, but I'll put a little star up here, folks. I know that's an ugly looking star because it's on the telestrator, and what that tells me is that it was a great defensive play, and then it jogs the memory and remember, oh, that's right, Brandon Phillips dove in the hole and took a base hit away from him. And I put FC. I didn't include that. I put FC underneath, fielder's choice, and then I marked that also where Mark Ellis moved to second base, so we know how he got to second. And Helton bounces one to Brandon Phillips, and that 4-3 will end the inning. We'll go to the second. No score at Coors Field. The Rockies and the Reds. Francisco out of the 5-hole leading things off as we check in for the first time with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, you were just saying that you could download a scorecard on RockyMountain.rootsports.com, a Kyle Bannister scorecard. Well, here is Kyle Bannister, a local artist who has always combined the world of art and the world of baseball. And Kyle is working on a very special scorecard for his gallery work and also for our broadcast today. Kyle, I want to know exactly what it is that you're working on, and also why is it so important for you to get the two worlds together?
Well, tonight I'm working on, they call it the art of scoring, so I'm actually going to do a complete piece of art on the scorecard as the night goes on.
All right, I don't want you to reveal what you're doing. Fans, you can download a scorecard off of our website, but you've done this for a long time, as I mentioned, melding the two worlds together of baseball and art. Where can we see some of your stuff?
Got a show right now at MVP Sports Cards. It's a brand new gallery in the Belmar Shopping Center. Be run up through Christmas, but we just opened it this week. I'm real excited about it.
And why is baseball as a game so important for you to incorporate in your lovely art?
It's a passion of mine. It's a way of life, and I mean, I can't imagine life without baseball. So,
all right, guys, we're going to continue to check in with Kyle as he makes progress with his scorecard. Again, you can download one and keep score and stay involved with us. RockyMountain.rootsports.com. But I want to introduce you to the man to my left, who we're going to talk to a little bit later. Jeff Best, a longtime Rockies fan who has his own array of scorecards. We're going to find out exactly what he does in terms of creativity, scoring the game in just a little bit. For now, we'll get it back up to you guys.
All right, Alana, I guarantee you that I'm sure both those gentlemen will keep a neater scorecard than we will.
We'd really make doctors proud.
There's a base hit for Drew Stubbs. But I guess the only one who has to be able to read our stuff
is us.
Is us.
By the way, this ought to be interesting. You've got the arm strength behind the plate. and Rosario, and then you've got speed at first base and Drew Stubbs. Let's see if it tested. 37 stolen bases for Stubbs.
Yeah, Stubbs has been caught only 9 times. He truly is, if you lined up all the fast guys in baseball, Drew Stubbs will be right there. Ryan Hannigan at the plate. Hannigan at 265, 6 home runs. And that is a foul ball. Hannigan's been much better out on the road, hitting just under 300 on the road, 233 at home. They got 3 catchers now. You see Kyle Bannister working on. He's doing a lot more. You know what, George? I've never done that before.
You and I don't color very well, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Haven't done that one yet. But they have Hannigan, they have Ramon Hernandez, and then they have, like the Rockies do, one of the better catching prospects in the game in Devin Mesoraco. So it's 1-1 on Hannigan. Reds are 33 up, 39 down on the road. They've played well in the West. They're 17-12 against the NL West. And that gets away far enough, and Stubbs moves up. So it'll be a wild pitch.
Well, looking at the pitch from Yolis, the ball drops down. It's blocked by Rosario. But in an area where it jumps, you have a first base. Now we're going to move him on over to second base. But I ride out here to the side, wild pitch, so I know how he advanced. I try to keep the center of this clean for me. So that's basically how I write that up.
That, George, is exactly how I do that as well. The one thing that I do slightly different from you, and this is a base hit to right. And let's see if Stubbs tries to score on Cargo. He's going to get a stop sign. And the throw to second is not in time. And the retag not in time. A little bit of hesitation on Rosario's part cost him an opportunity. I know he wanted to glance and see what Stubbs is doing down at third base. Stubbs was pretty much anchored at that point, and he would have been able to get Ryan Hannigan pretty easily.
Well, I really thought maybe they might send Stubbs only because he locked up at second, though. He hesitated at second base. So that's why they didn't send him. See that hesitation? Then Barry at third base said, nope, not going to test it. And then when they saw the throw go wild, Rosario double pumped. And when he didn't have a chance. Lucky there that Nelson didn't stay with the tag. He did a swipe tag instead of staying with the runner.
So it's second and third, Paul Yanish, and this is popped up and out of play. So here's how, this is just Ryan Hannigan's box, and I'll show you how we do this. Hannigan had a base hit, so we do that, and then what I do, and again I write this in chicken scratch, folks, but I know what I wrote, and I actually literally write THRO really small.
Advanced on the throw.
He advanced on the throw. And then in the box before that, obviously, we have Drew Stubbs. And George put it in. He had a single. He moved to second on a wild pitch. I don't write anything because I know that we move him to third, but I know that he moved to third on the base hit.
Absolutely.
And Paul Yanish just removed himself from a horrendous slump. He was 0 for 28 until getting a base hit on Tuesday in Chicago. And it's 1-2. Tell you what, I know what Chacin's thinking here, George, and if you were on the hill, you'd be thinking the same thing. If you can get a punch out here, you have the pitcher on deck, you can get out of this little situation without any run scoring. It's amazing. We haven't seen a sweatshirt on anybody in a while, back probably the first part of May. Game time temperature tonight was 73 degrees. Here's the 1-2. A comebacker, and Chacin's got Stubbs hung up.
Barry was trying to get the attention of Hannigan to get to third base as he was yelling at him, and he didn't ever anticipate it or see it or even try to advance on it.
That was a textbook rundown. We're getting a lot of scoring opportunities here, aren't we?
Yeah, getting pretty quick already. Here it is. Rosario with the throw down. Now he's going to flip it to Kuzmanov, who's going to come right to him. Running back as close as you can to the bag. That's the best part about it.
All right, so this is I'm doing this fast, folks, but this is Stubbs. So now on his box, what I do, and I don't know if George does this, but I put a little line through it, and now it was 1 off to the side. 1, 2, 5 was the put out, and the line is kind of a stop sign. I know that's where he got caught between third and the plate.
Yeah, the only thing different, I don't put the line across where he got caught. I just know he's out and gone in history, and we'll do this right here. Bye-bye.
And a 2-hopper to second.
Nice job of getting out of it.
Absolutely. So on that 4-3, Chacin is out of the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Scoreless at Coors Field. Is that a natural hair color, do you think?
If you went to the purple hair shop, it is.
Those kids want tacos. We know that. Fans, remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. There's Kyle Bannister's scorecard coming. He's pausing. He wants to see what Kevin Kuzmanov's going to do. So Kuzmanov will lead off, then Smith and Rosario against Homer Bailey. David DeWitt Bailey Jr. Nickname's Homer. If your nickname's Homer, you're supposed to be a position player, aren't you?
Or a cheerleader for the home team. Right? Well, you wonder with Kuzmanov, 23 games in his career versus the Reds, he has crushed the baseball. 376, 8 home runs, and 24 RBIs.
He's 0 for 5, though, lifetime against Bailey. And a broken bat, soft liner, gloved by Paul Janisch. Well, Seth Smith has great history against Homer Bailey. In fact, earlier this year at Cincinnati, he took him deep twice. At Great American Ballpark. And that's not the only time he's hit a home run against him. He's 4 for 8 lifetime with 3 bombs against Homer Bailey. And though he has only 11 at-bats this year against Cincinnati, Smith had that big series at Great American. He's got 3 home runs and 5 driven in against the Reds this year. That's a very good-looking breaking ball right on the outside corner. It's 0-2. Bailey has battled shoulder issues. He started the year on the disabled list with an impingement in his shoulder and then had to revisit the DL later on with shoulder problem. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the breaking ball strikes out Smith. The out recorded at first. And I write K and then a little 2-3 underneath to indicate that the put out was recorded at first base. 2 outs. Willeen Rosario coming up. Take a look at our Geico quote of the day from the writer Richard McCann. No 36-inch bat ever made as many hits as the scorer's little pencil.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Probably saved your ERA here and there, didn't it,
Oh,
George?
I laughed when I was when I retired, started coaching Little League Baseball. Ground ball to shortstop, he'd miss it. The left fielder would miss it. The guy'd run around the bases, and they go, "Well, that's a home run." I said, "No, it's a 2-base error." That guy made an error. The other guy made an error. It's a 4-base error. Had 2 errors happen on the plate. They threw it over third into the stands. No, those are all errors. It's not a hit. Well, he hit the ball. The magic pencil.
Right, and that part was accurate. He hit the ball.
Yeah, hit the ball.
They'll got to be a little more lenient, though, with the little ones. 0-2 on Willeen Rosario. Both of his hits came on Wednesday. An infield hit that went about 45 feet, and then a home run that went almost 450 feet. And he tops this one to short. Very quick inning for Homer Bailey. We'll go to the 3rd. Rockies and Reds without a run. Neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By McDonald's, brighten up your day with a free small premium roast coffee at McDonald's only until September 25th. I'm loving it. And by the Colorado Lottery, it's Mega Millions from the Colorado Lottery Mega Jackpots every Tuesday and Friday. Hope you're scoring along with us tonight. That's kind of our theme this evening. No scores. We go to the third. Brandon Phillips takes a curveball for a strike. Brandon hit a ground ball to third his first time up. We know that because we looked at our scorecard. And the little one notation, some people do that in a corner to indicate that that was the first out of the inning. I actually don't do that. Do you, George?
I do. I write it in. I write how many outs it is, what out it was in the inning.
Two-strike count on Phillips. Brandon hits out of an extreme crouch. 1-2. It's 2-2. Phillips home runs down a little bit. He had 30 in 07, 21 in 08, 20 in 09, 18 last year, a dozen this year. 3-2. This is going to be looked upon. The Reds have made a lot of deals in their history, George. This is going to be looked upon as one of the better deals they ever made. He was acquired by the Indians, or excuse me, he was acquired by the Reds for cash and a player to be named later from Cleveland.
Sounded like Cleveland just wanted to get rid of him, didn't they? Can't believe that. He ends up an all-star, Gold Glove winner. Been in the playoffs, not happy with his spot flying foul territory, though.
Well, one of the things I do a little bit differently on my scorecard is I use different colored pens. And George, so we'll start at the top. I put the defense in. This is the Rockies' offensive side. So you see the defensive alignment. George does that as well. George does everything in pencil in case he has to erase, which is probably a wise thing to do. And then you see the starting pitcher on the right, and I have some notations on the starting pitcher. This was actually shot before I filled everything in. And then I put the players in blue, and on the left is their batting average, home runs, and RBIs. And then I put little notations on the right. And I have the umpires in black above that. And Helton's got another play. So Sapelk's retired. And then when I'm actually scoring, and I have to show this, we have a camera in the booth, we could look at this real quick. When I'm scoring, I don't know if we can get a good angle. There we go. I don't know if you can tell this, but
well, that's camera's not operated
right
at this moment.
The first guy up in the ball game was Brandon Phillips. He grounded out to third. The next guy was Dave Sapelt. In red, I write 2B. He doubled. So anytime a guy gets on base, for me, I write it in red because then it stands out to me, and I know he reached in some fashion. So black is no good. In terms of the book, you know it's an out. In red, you know that person reached. Just kind of my system. Everybody's different.
I just don't want to have to keep track of that many pencils.
But you know, I'm very fond of my pens, George, right?
Way fond.
And again, that's the way George does. It's probably the smart way, because if you make a boo-boo, I got to cross out. George just erases. And that's down. See, this is the end of the season.
See, this is down, folks. Normally there's like 750. It's like going when you get those
these
crayons.
are all out here too. So.
Crayons with 64 colors in it. That's what Drew's deal looks like.
I got my highlighter package.
Yeah, he's got all. Yeah, he's got a lot of different things he uses.
That's end of season. At the start of the year, it's like 3 times as thick. Chris Nelson with the chance and a strong arm. So Chris Nelson with his first opportunity filling in for Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Well, Dexter Fowler will be involved next inning when we come back. Rizzo, bottom of the 3rd inning. Chris Nelson will lead things off against Homer Bailey. Good to see Chris back in a Rockies uniform. Talking to Renee Latchman about him a little bit earlier today. Renee's with the club right now, the hitting instructor for Colorado Springs. Chris had a tremendous year swinging the bat down in the Springs. Now trying to make it translate at this level. This ball's well hit to center field, and it is gone. Home run. Put him at shortstop. He hits him out to all fields like the regular shortstop. 3rd home run this year for Chris Nelson, and it's 1-0 Colorado. Something about that spot on the field if you're a Rocky, I guess.
Yeah, why not, huh? Worked on trying to stay back, particularly on the breaking ball. He stayed back well there. Hanging curveball right up into the middle of the plate. Nelson just back leg drive, stiff front side and opposite field, out of the park.
Good for Chris Nelson. Here's Chacin. You know, one of the questions with Nelson, the Rockies like him a lot. Will he hit for enough power to be a regular third baseman? Because that's that corner spot, and this is off of Votto into right field. So Votto, who's not only a great offensive player, but he's a very good defender, had that one kick off, looked like the heel of his glove into right field.
Well, the ball's hit hard, but everything's playing over to the opposite field side. Some bad hop single now given to Yolis.
Well, if we're scoring this inning, this one's easy. We write a little HR, and then I not only put them all around the bases, George, but then I color them in. I don't know how you do. You're the telestrator expert. How do you do that?
I just write an R in the middle for a run, and then I know it's a run. See, look, I did it in your red pencil. You like that? You know,
I didn't know you could do that.
Huh?
I color the whole thing in red, so pretty
like
similar.
That?
And then, of course, CIN. We all of a sudden got colors. I love it.
You gonna write like BH for bad hop?
Well, no. Now we got to put decks on. Hold on a sec. We got to move. We got to move Yolis to second there, Georgie, and hold on. See, they got my cup. Did you see? I don't know a thing about this. Where's my billet? You made that yellow. I'm trying to write H. Hit by. I actually write HBP. What do you write?
That's the same thing. HB.
HB. All right. I write all 3 letters. I can't do it down there. I wrote a 21. I don't know why, because George is messing.
I'm not messing with anything. You're doing good.
Okay, so we know that. We know now there's runners at first and second, nobody out, and Mark Ellis is at the plate. CIN singled, Fowler hit by a pitch. And Mark thought that was in. He was trying to set up put the bunt down. Takes a long look at Richie Dower. Anyhow, I was starting to say about Chris Nelson. The question is, will he hit for enough pop to be a corner guy, a third baseman? Well, hitting a breaking ball 430 feet to right center field shows you that it's in there.
Well, plus the other side, if he drives in runs, much the way Jeff Cirillo did, the power doesn't matter. Cirillo, I think, hit 12, 15 max home runs a year, but he drove in 100 runs. He had 50-something doubles, took advantage of the gaps here. If you're surrounded by RBI guys, too, in the lineup, that helps ease a little pressure off the position at third.
And on the inside corner again, called to strike by home plate umpire Mark Carlson. Mark is single his first time up, right back up the middle. Cargo's on deck. Rockies have a run already, and they have 2 on with nobody out against Bailey here in the third.
By the way, the Rockies are tied for second in the National League for home runs hit by an 8th batter in the lineup. Milwaukee leads it with 16. The Rockies are tied with Arizona at 14.
And most of that the work of Chris Iannetta.
12 of those by Chris. I kind of like your color scorebook. It looks nice.
It's pretty. I don't know if it's as pretty.
Well, you said you did color
as our
pencils.
artist.
I thought I'd give it the color pencil thing.
What other options do we have? We have
white.
Color?
Yeah. And we have yellow.
We don't have magenta.
No.
And Homer Bailey strikes out Mark Ellis. So that's the first out of the inning. Now coming up in the 6th inning is Toyota Talk, of course. Here's what we want you to sound off on. Where did you learn to score? Do you score at home? How frequently? Do you score at the ballpark? Have any favorite scorebook stories? And do you have a unique system? So anything having to do with scoring the game of baseball, we want to hear from you tonight on Toyota Talk. Text those thoughts to 720-720 after first texting, of course, the word Toyota. Cargo robbed of a base hit his first time up by Brandon Phillips. Remember, we wrote that 4-3 with the little star above it. And that's a strike. Carlos George, if he gets not even super hot, but relatively hot over the next 18, 19 ball games, that's what's left. He could hit 30 home runs and drive in 100.
And miss a large portion of the season due to injuries in DL. Think if you had that back. It's all personal numbers, obviously, for a player and satisfaction for the player, but yet the results of his team have not been good. So it's nice to see those numbers for yourself personally, but you'd like to be playing beyond September.
And he said as much the other day. He said, I don't like to go out and play for numbers. He said, we're in this thing to win a championship, and he kind of dismissed that notion. This is fouled off. But I don't care what level it is, George, and correct me if I'm wrong, even at your guys' level, at the end of the year, when you look back and say, hey, you know what, I did do X, Y, and Z, at least personally you feel maybe a little bit better about it, even though collectively you didn't get where you wanted to go.
It's easier to swallow, but what great numbers do for you individually in today's game, it gets you big contracts, as it did for Gonzalez to be able to take care of your family. But if you're a young player and you're arbitration eligible, then you know you have a great year. Your numbers then personally will help you. But you're right. I mean, it's the game's played for rings. It's not played for that.
One out at second base is Yoeli Chacin. Bad hop single to right. Dexter Fowler was hit by a pitch. 1-2 the count on Gonzalez. Helton hitting behind him. With Tulowitzki out of the lineup with a little soreness in his left hip. And this is rolled to second. Phillips to short to one. Giannis will not be able to turn it over. So runners at first and third, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Helton. Well, here's how Troy Tulowitzki learned how to score the game.
I think watching the game, you kind of figure it out. Maybe going to my dad's softball games, you see people in the stands keeping score. I think you kind of learn from that, at least for myself. But I think the answer, going to my dad's softball games.
You know what I found funny? When George Brett did his first network game for Fox and they had to show him how to keep score. Hall of Famer. Hope you're listening, George. You can text me and get on to me, but I just kind of ratted you out there.
Well, he never had time to score. He was always playing. Helton looking for RBI number 1309. He's currently tied for 99th all time with Steve Garvey. Shallow center field. Stubbs has it. And that's all for the Rockies in the third. They do get a run. Chris Nelson got a breaking ball and he crushed it to deep right center field. His third home run of the year. 1-0 Colorado. Boy, this person writes really neatly. And George, she's southpaw. Notice that? Probably got a good fastball also. Hey, it's time for our Fast Cash Sideline Report. It's brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana?
Well, you know what? We're doing the baseball scoring thing all night. So how about we find out a little bit of information about the guy who is credited with doing this. What am I trying to say, guys? Scoring
I don't know.
the game for the first time ever.
Now I know.
Now you know, if I could just spit it out. Well, Henry Chadwick was born in England, but he and his family moved to Brooklyn at the age of 12. He grew up playing cricket, so he would score the cricket. In 1957, he began working for the New York Clipper. He is credited with creating the first box score. He was a historian, a baseball statistician, an amateur statistician at that, but he is credited as the father of baseball. Even on his tomb in New York, he has a globe on the top of it with stitches, so of course that's a baseball. He has a catcher's mask and 4 plates around it, of course signifying the 4 plates, or the 3 bases and home plate. So Henry Chadwick, father of baseball. It was not Tracy Ringlesby. I thought this whole time the person that invented the scorecard was the Cowboy, but it's not. It's Henry Chadwick. And now you know a little bit of history. I finally was able to spit it out.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The same thing. You had me on the edge of my seat there for about the first 10 seconds.
It's intriguing. It's called a tease in the business. I was just trying to spit it out. My scorecard is not nearly as dirty and messy as yours. I'll show you. I learned from Tom Helmer, the yellow is the hits. So hopefully on the Rockies side of the page, there's a bunch of yellow.
Well, you did bring up the Cowboy and scorekeeping.
His is like a coloring book. It's ridiculous.
Right, but the Cowboy actually a contemporary of Henry Chadwick.
Exactly. He was under his tutelage, if you will.
Yeah, actually, I think Cowboy mentored Henry Chadwick, if I have my timeline correctly.
I think he's only 60. That's not right, Goodman.
Well, it may not be right, but he can't respond because he doesn't have a microphone near him. 3 and 2.
That's how we set people up.
They get their shots in the first half hour, and then we get 3 hours, right?
Absolutely.
3 and 2 on Jay Bruce. To Mark Ellis. Now, George, we've been scoring and talking about it, the history of it. Meanwhile, Chacin, who doesn't have a lot of history because he's only 23, as we were talking about earlier.
Along pretty good.
He's throwing the ball very well, isn't he?
Yeah, 3 hits, couple of hits back in the second. He ran into a little bit of traffic, had first and third, or second and third. Was able to work out of that with some good defensive plays by himself. So, yeah, it's nice to see.
Juan Francisco, who flew out to deep center field his first time, and now he hits this ball to deep right center, and this one's going to die on the edge of the track.
See, like Drew will write this on his, all right, like that.
Actually, I just read a big 8.
See, well, you used to do that, and then I taught you how to just do this, and then you write down here at the bottom and you circle it.
Do you know what I do? You know what I do though, George?
I don't like that color. I want to try this color. Let's see this one. See that?
There you go.
See, I do. What'd you do to the colorblind thing? That's good. You got me all messed up.
And now I add this now.
What do you add now? No, you don't write Dexter on every one of them.
No, I wrote
deep.
I wrote deep 8, so now I know that he hit the ball
a long way. Okay.
Drew Stubbs with 2 outs. He singled, got around to third, and then tried to score on a comebacker. It didn't work out too well. He was going on contact and was out 1-2-5. Stubbs is a scout's dream. This kid went to the University of Texas. He runs like the wind. We described that earlier. He has tremendous power. He's very, very good defensively. He throws well. This is deep in the hole. Nice pickup by Nelson. The one problem with Stubbs is he strikes out a ton. He has struck out 185 times this year. Another good inning for Chacin. 1-0 Colorado. Rockies leading on a Chris Nelson home run. Time to take a look at our AT&T trivia question. Kevin Millwood and Willeen Rosario each homered on Wednesday. Who were the first starting battery mates to homer in the same game for the Rockies? Now think back. Kevin Kuzminoff at the plate against Homer Bailey, and he swings at a slider off the plate. And the 0-1's too tall. It's pretty wild when you talk about scorekeeping. I don't remember ever. I used to score games in the NBA watching the Knicks growing up, George. I don't remember ever going to an NBA arena and seeing somebody scoring the game in an NBA arena. You don't see that sort of thing.
Well, that's because they have those big scoreboards now, and as they come into the game, it gives them fouls, rebounds, and how many points they have and everything else. So I think it just eliminated people doing it.
And Kuzminoff is gone.
Hey, Hebrew National Hot Dogs and the Rockies want to thank all of them September 20th with coupons for $1 hot dogs for the first 10,000 in special giveaways between innings. So make sure you're here for that game to participate. That's September the 20th, Sam, Tuesday. Don't forget it.
Seth Smith will step up. Smith struck out his first time. Breaking ball in the dirt. Yeah, there are times that a catcher will set up, George, and you only threw about 6 million pitches in your career, and you look at him and you can tell it's a fastball setup. Did that bother you?
Not really. No, didn't bother me a bit. I think all this, if you make your pitch, you're going to get guys out. Away and in and that kind of thing, but I like to see a guy give me a target with a body.
But you know what I mean. There's some guys that they kind of give away a little bit.
Too early. Too early. You hear some good hitters say it sounds like a stampede of horses moving back there. So they know they went inside. The louder the sound, they're coming in. The lighter the sound, they're going away. Big loud steps in behind guys. That's why those catchers pat the ground with their gloves trying to trick hitters. Doesn't work. Did you fall for that? Stand up and a guy starts patting his glove on the ground.
You know what? I thought it's going the opposite of where he's tapping inside and setting up away.
What are you doing? Why are you beating on the ground back there?
One and two. That's the pitch Smith struck out on. How about this? The Rockies have won 10 straight at Coors Field against Cincinnati. Oh, wait a second. This isn't like, hey, I'm going to score the game tonight. This guy's been here, done that before for the season. That is stopped by Giannis, and he couldn't get a grip on the baseball. So base hit for Smith.
And a nice play by Giannis at shortstop to go get him. But yeah, how about this scorecard here? Keeping every one of them, all 181 home dates, probably on TV too. Playing him up the middle. Has to go back to where a shortstop normally plays, and then just the ball spit up like a shot put straight in the air as he went to go throw this baseball. Did not have a grip on it.
So here's Willeen Rosario. And let's see if he picked up on a pattern. He got breaking balls away to get ahead. He eventually hit a ground ball to Giannis.
When I watched in Tulsa, a lot of teams would try to come inside, and I mean inside off the plate early, and then go soft stuff away on Rosario. And if they were able to get him to foul that first inside fastball off, he would have a tendency to chase the breaking ball away. They work just the opposite, what Drew's talking about. Breaking balls away and then a fastball up.
Same pattern, at least to begin with, as in his first at bat.
The hard sliders seem to give him more difficulties than the curveball. when I watched him in Tulsa this year, and I probably saw 60 at bats of Rosario this summer.
0-1 the count. Smith at first with one gone. Rockies up 1-0 on a Chris Nelson home run in the third. There goes Smitty, and Hannigan's throw is low and into center field, and Smith is going to move to third. All right, we got it. George, you describe it, and I'll score it.
Yeah, there you go. The throw off on it. I think maybe a hit and run going on here, maybe not, or a straight steal by Smith, because for Smith, it's his 10th stolen base. He's only been caught one time.
All right, so he gets an SP for stolen base, and then an error on the catcher, E2, moved him to third base.
4th error in a year for Hannigan.
See if Rosario can pick off his second RBI. Infield is pulled in now for Dusty Baker.
Middle of the ball game, Dusty seeing how well CIN is pitching. Didn't want to give any more chances if he doesn't have to.
Talking to Dusty about CIN before the ball game. He has a lot of respect for CIN. You know what else? He thinks he's a tremendous fielder. This ball ripped to third, and Smith's got nowhere to go. Now Rosario's going to try to get the scoring position, and Smith did his job because Willeen will get the second.
You got to go with this pitch, hit extremely hard. Looked like Smith got caught off the back, froze for a second, then Francisco ran to Hannigan, and in the shortstop, Giannis came in. That was executed perfectly also on both sides, simply for the reason the fact that you did get the out at third defensively, but offensively you got into scoring position for the Rockies with Rosario.
5-2-6 on that put out. Now I'm going to show you what I did with Rosario, so I'm going to clear this on the air. Rosario gets one of these and one of those to second, and he gets an FC down here. And what I do, this is a little weird, George, but I put actually a little arrow saying the fielder's choice, and then up here is the 5-2-6 to indicate, you can't see it, I pushed another color, but 5-2-6 to indicate that it was a fielder's choice, and that's what he hit into. And it got him to second because of the rundown, if you can follow all of that.
Yeah, now they're going to end up walking Chris Nelson and get to CIN, who had a base hit off the glove of Joey Votto.
Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Man, it's a nice Friday night crowd. Rock pile looks like it's filled up. A lot of folks in the upper deck here. Great crowd on September the 9th. 1st of 3 against the Reds. Rockies will be off Monday. It'll be a travel day late in the afternoon. Head to Milwaukee for a 2-game set against the Brew Crew. So CIN with 2 outs. Chance to produce another run. This is a flare to shallow right, and a sliding catch made by Jay Bruce. Well done by Bruce. That may have saved another run, as Rosario was already around third, of course, with 2 outs. 1-0 as we go to the 5th. Brandon Phillips, foul pop up to Todd Helton, and Dave Chappelle was watching, and he did the same thing. Next guy was Joey Votto, and he had a ground ball to short. Nice play by Nelson. That's brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn about energy efficiency and how to save energy and money in your home by visiting responsiblebynature.com. Fifth inning, CIN will face Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Homer Bailey for Cincinnati.
And his other start this year against the Reds, 8 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. He struck out 9 through 111 pitches, but lost the game. Right now, leading 1-0. You'd like to see a little insurance for Yolis in this ball game.
Well, this is home runs per game by ballpark this year. Rangers #1 down in Arlington. Yankee Stadium gives up a lot. Great American is 5th on the list. Now, when these two teams met at Great American a little while ago, they combined to hit 13 home runs. The Rockies hit 7, the Reds hit 6. And what's interesting is, again, by reputation, everybody think Coors Field be right at the top of that list.
See, I just hoping when you put that up and had them do the research today for that, I was hoping everybody on the East Coast was watching.
That's why we did it early, before they went to bed.
Well, exactly. And I'm just like, this just doesn't make sense that it's not up there.
And this is Coors Field, 2.36 this year. And the lowest is 06 was 2.08. The highest was 3.74 back in 1999, pre-Humidor, and also before performance-enhancing drug testing was taking place in Major League Baseball.
We had the Blake Street Bombers here, too. There's some guys hitting some deep fly balls out of this yard.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Ryan Hannigan. And a bouncer. Oh, what a pickup by Kuzminov. Did he stay on the bag? Helton did. He's got. But you know what? Todd was like a ballerina there. He had to reach up, and he kept the toe on the bag. Well done.
Yeah, Todd kind of reminds me of Gaylord Perry when they wouldn't make plays behind him. Then you make him make a stretch like this. He kind of gives you the look like, hey, do y'all know how old I am and how I got to do these things? How about just throwing it right to me? Just let me catch it. He was right in the middle of the base path, too.
That was a pretty good pickup by Kuzminov. It's kind of do or die. You either come up with it or you don't. I mean, short hop, he had a charge. Here's the 0-1 to Janisch. George, we always talk about CIN and fastball command. He's thrown 62 pitches, 41 to 21 strikes to balls.
Well, that's what he has to do, and when he does this, he is so efficient at controlling a ball game. He leads the National League in walks among starting pitchers with 78. Of course, then you have Billingsley's third. Lincecum's second with 77 going into tonight. But when he pounds the strike zone, you see the results of what you're seeing here. A 3-hit shutout through 4 and 1/3 innings.
And strike 3. And that was well received by Willeen Rosario. Kind of a borderline pitch, at least at height. And Rosario, I think, showed it very well to Mark Carlson.
He went out and got it. See how the arm is extended for him. He didn't allow the ball to move out of the strike zone. That's something that Marv Foley and other people in the organization are working with him to make sure he continues to do that. He got it here on the first pitch to Homer Bailey.
And that's how we're going to show you how I score that. A backwards K. You do that too, right?
No.
You don't put it.
Strikeout's a punch out. Swinging or standing or walking, he's going to the dugout.
See, if it's a called strike, I write it backwards. A lot of people do that. And
sure.
You may be wondering what that number is underneath it. I write whatever number strikeout it is. So I know that CIN has 2 strikeouts. The next one obviously will be 3. Two and one on Homer Bailey. Well, maybe a preview potentially, George, of the NLCS. Milwaukee is hosting Philadelphia, and it's 3-0 Philadelphia in the 6th inning. And Milwaukee saying, boy, I hope we don't get that guy number 34
pretty good
in the postseason.
Yeah, Roy Halladay shutting him out right now, but Sean Markham going for the Milwaukee Brewers, another guy having a good year.
Well, the deals that Doug Melvin made really turned out well. The Markham deal, the Greinke deal.
A 3-run home run in the 1st inning is the difference in that ball game.
Big man Ryan Howard hit the 3-run blast. Here's the 3-2 on Bailey. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. Homer Bailey from LaGrange, Texas. 7th player picked in the 04 draft. Here's another 3-2. And virtually the same thing we just saw. Here's what I was talking about, George. In his high school career, he went 41-4 with an 0.98 ERA. He struck out 536 in 298 innings. And they won baseball titles his freshman year and his senior year.
Particularly in a state like Texas, that makes it even that much more impressive for me.
Yeah, and he was the National High School Player of the Year. Named after his great-granddad. Here's the 3-2 to Homer, and he's still alive.
Well, the Rockies Children Book Drive will be before the ball game on Sunday. Newer gently used children's books will benefit Denver's Health Reach Out and Read program. Cash donations will also be appreciated. So that's on Sunday's ball game.
Reds are going to have a decision to make on Homer Bailey at the end of the year. He's never reached the level everybody thought he would. They're talking about putting Aroldis Chapman into the rotation next year.
See, I agree with that move 100% if they're not going to close it. Try to maximize the most out of what he has to offer.
That's a lot of money to spend on a setup guy. Rockies leading 1-0. Carlos Gonzalez up 3rd, next inning. Facebook and Twitter for details on how to win free tolls. The Reds are in here this weekend. Again, a reminder, tomorrow, no television. It's in the national television window, so we can't put it on the air. We'll be back on the air with the pregame show 12:30 here on Root Sports. Monday's an off day. And then we'll see the Brew Crew of Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the Giants are in for a 4-game set next weekend. Well, it's been well pitched. Homer Bailey's done a good job. The only mistake he made, a curveball, he hung a little bit to Chris Nelson, who swatted it out to deep right center field. Dexter Fowler, he's 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch. He starts him off with a curveball, but kind of slipped out of his hand, so it's 1-0. Big ball game taking place tonight in Modesto, California, between Modesto and Stockton in the California playoffs. And it's going to be a nervous dad up here. At least there should be a little bit.
Well, he's nervous.
Parker Frazier's on the hill for Modesto, and Chad Bettis pitched a wonderful game last night.
Cabrera did the night before, too.
Yeah, there's a base hit for Dexter. Very quickly, before we talk about tonight's ball game, yesterday in that ball game, Chad Bettis went 6 2/3 scoreless innings for Modesto. He struck out 9, scattered 6 hits, walked 3, a 2-1 win for Modesto. He hit 100 on the radar gun.
Pitch 47 last night was when he hit 100. He averaged 97. And it's a big arm out of Texas Tech that has come and developed into. And for me, I mean, it's just one guy's opinion, but you could have another Craig Kimbrell if you wanted to have it. I mean, it is nasty as a closer. He's got the mentality, tough guy, struck out 9. Cabrera started the first game of the playoffs, did not get a decision. Another guy that led all the minor leagues with strikeouts, 224 strikeouts on the season. A left-hander, there'll be 24 this year, but a very, very good arm.
How about this, George? In the second half, Bettis this year went 8-1 with a 2.41 ERA.
In a hitter's league. That's a big-time hitter's league there, particularly when you have to go. Here's a wild throw. You'll see some advancement. Who gets to
he
score
may have
everything.
a chance to get the third on this. He stopped at second, but he gave it a thought. So on the error by Homer Bailey, Dexter at second base with nobody out.
It just slides by. A lot of times guys are trying to catch and tag, and when you do that, it's hard to pick the ball out of the dirt.
So Dex is here on a base hit, 1B, and he moves there on an E1. See if Mark Ellis can move him along. 1-0 ball game, 5th inning. And he did a great job. Brandon Phillips throws out Mark Ellis, but now with 1 out. Fowler standing 90 feet away. Carlos Gonzalez walking to the plate.
You know, it's funny, when Parker contacted me today, that's pretty cool how that's getting started there. So, yeah, Kyle Bannister is still doing a little work coming together on that. He called me today and talked to me prior to that playoff game tonight, and I said, you know, for a guy that's pitched in a couple of games in the World Series and in the playoffs, just go throw. You know, if you get beat, you get beat. If you win, you win. I mean, it's, you know, and you're not going to be able to do anything different or special because both those teams are in the same division. So all the starting pitchers have faced these guys an awful lot. That was, I think, 8th start last night for Bettis, and same thing for Cabrera. I think this is Parker's 8th start against Stockton. And the kind of the neat part about it, the two cities are only 28 miles apart. So you get a lot of fans from Stockton coming down to Modesto to the ball games. If they happen to win tonight, they will start the first round of the second round against San Jose tomorrow night. San Jose had a bye.
It's called a strike, 1-1. Boy, Brandon Phillips, you talk about infield in. Brandon Phillips is on the grass.
Trust your hands.
And he's on the pull side with a guy who hits rockets. Now, Parker's had a terrific second half as well. to call that a bow tie.
Named affectionately by Nolan Ryan. I think I ought to give him a little bit of a bow tie, make him aware of the ball in. You can see Cargo, as far out as he was, cheating on the fastball to try to get out front on that sinker. He just kind of crisscrossed him with a heat inside.
Here's the 2-1.
All night.
I've never seen Carlos have that kind of reaction at the plate before. Never have. And now Jim Tracy's jawing at him.
Well, both sides. Think back when Rosario got the outside call twice down. And now all of a sudden it flips, obviously. That's part of the game. You're really happy for one side. Then when you get another one called low against you, you're not very happy. The reaction in the dugout will tell you.
2-2. You ever seen that kind of reaction from Carlos?
Not very often. I mean, the other day I thought on a changeup or something he showed a little bit of a turn back, but it was more of just a general conversation, but not very often. Because if it's a strike, he's trying to lay lumber to it 99% of the times. He's going to swing at it.
And a big strikeout for Homer Bailey. 2 outs. That'll bring up Todd Helton. Coming up in the 6th inning, Toyota Talk, excuse me. And we want your comments on if you keep score, how you keep score, anything having to do with scorekeeping tonight to 720-720. Helton, a ground ball to second and a fly ball to center field. He just threw somebody out. Mark Carlson just ran Jim Tracy.
He ran somebody, I'm not sure who, a point to the dugout, and he tossed him.
Yeah, maybe, you know what, I may have been wrong on that. We'll see. You know what? It was obviously somebody else. And you know what? This, I believe, is the 3rd time Jim's been run this year. And it's his 4th time, actually. And he got his money's worth there, because that is the longest the normally mild-mannered Jim Tracy has been on the field chewing on an umpire. And Carlos Gonzalez was the player thrown at. Well, now the Rockies will have to play the rest of this 1-0 game without their 3-hole hitter, and they're already playing without Tulowitzki. And Tommy Runnels will run the club. Ty Wigginton, I think TR just said, hey, you're going to go out to left field.
Couple of choices. He could run EY out there also, but as Drew's mentioned, you'll see some changes starting to be made here very quickly.
Well, again, it's still relatively early in the game. You're talking about you want a middle of the order type bat. That's why I think he's going to select Wigginton.
The Rockies so far in this game with 2 outs here in the 5th, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The opposition this year had hit .311 against Homer Bailey with the bases with men in scoring position.
We're going to double check this. That I think, George, is Cargo's first ever ejection.
I can't ever remember one. Not with the Rockies uniform. I don't know about Arizona and Oakland, but as far as the Rockies uniform, I don't remember one.
Well, he wasn't in the big leagues with Arizona and Oakland. He was a kid. I can't imagine him getting thrown out in Oakland. He's still a kid, but he was new to the big leagues. Here's the 3-1. Here's a 3-2 and a ground ball to second. And Phillips almost got knocked over. And the Rockies waste an opportunity. Fowler left at third base. 1-0. The Nelson home run still holding up. Ball on Root Sports is brought to you by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, Jack's Really Big Chicken Sandwich combos back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. By College Invest, are you saving for college or just talking about it? And by Berkiner, for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Berkiner at 303-777-3037. Think green, think Berkiner. Well, we've got to make some changes in our scorebook. On the defensive page for the Rockies, Seth Smith's in right field for Carlos Gonzalez. Seth Smith is in left field. Ty Wigginton's in left field for Seth Smith. Have I confused everybody?
No. Ty Wigginton's in left, Smith's in right.
Thank you.
Carr goes in the shower. By the on-plate umpire, Mark Carlson. Not by his choice.
No. 1-0 on Brandon Phillips. 10 in a row, actually 11 in a row, set down by Jhoulys Chacín. Phillips is 0 for 2. A double and 2 singles allowed so far tonight by Chacín through 5 innings. Change up on 2-0, and that's high. It's 3-0. And a leadoff walk on 4 pitches. First of the night allowed by Chacín. Bring up Dave Chappelle.
What do you write down when a guy walks? Do you write a W or a BB?
I actually write BB. What do you write?
In honor of Phil Rizzuto, I write a W. Because folks, this is what Rizzuto wrote one time. He did this right here, and his partner Bill White said, "What does that mean?" He goes, "Wasn't watching."
Because they would.
Right. But I just write walk. I just write walk in here this way. That's all I do.
That's 5 straight out of the zone.
And then I put IW for intentional walk. And you write IBB.
I do. All right, tonight we asked, how did you learn to score a baseball game? Let's see what some of the responses. My dad taught me at the Denver Bears games.
So you're the kid yelling at me. I remember you now, Patricia.
I use iScore on my iPad. You know what? That is a great app. You're absolutely right, Jim. And a lot of youth league teams are using that, and you immediately have an update. It's like, little George Frazier is now 27 for 58 at the plate. this year. You know exactly what his season stats are.
Well, Jack Corrigan does that. He keeps score on his computer. It does all of it that way.
Yeah, Jack's always done that, which I think there's only one other guy in baseball, whether it be television or radio, who does that.
John
Chuck.
No. Hold on a minute. Mike Shannon's partner in St. Louis. I feel horrible. John
Rooney.
John Rooney does it.
Well,
he actually even prints out the lineup sometimes too.
The one thing that's scary about that is if you have some
Can you
sort
hit
of
delete and
computer,
go back?
yeah, I mean, if you have some computer malfunction or a difficult scoring play and you're trying to figure it out.
Not good.
Meanwhile, 6 hitters have gone by. Here's the 1-1. That's in there, 1-2. Taught my daughter in the 90s the simplest scorecarding while watching the Sky Sox. Todd's early playing days.
See, I like to read all these that say my dad and I, you know, and even when mom did it with them, but dad and I.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Spending time at the yard with your kids, there ain't nothing like it.
This pile dates from the 50s. Surrey. It's wild. I'll adopt it like. Well, you know what? You'll write neater than I will. One and two the count on Sapelt. Double play ball if Nelson can get there, and he's going to get the force on a glove flip to Mark Ellis. Tell you what, he's handled himself pretty well tonight for having not played a lot of short this year.
This year, right, but he played shortstop in Tulsa in his couple of years there. He was an all-star shortstop in high school. So it's not like the game is, you know, he's going out in a foreign country, just like, not like Pacheco by any means, who had only played 7 big league games, or 7 games period at third base anywhere.
Joey Votto, strikeout and a ground ball to short. Sapelt can run is at first base. Votto against the Rockies just 2 for 15 this year.
You know, I'm really surprised Sapelt doesn't have any stolen bases yet, because he can run. And he was there back in August when the Rockies went in to play Cincinnati. Had just gotten called up because he can fly. How would you like to be?
It's nerdy and antisocial when I'm there with friends. Ryan. So Ryan, you said you only do it when your wife's there. That's a base hit. And Sapelt will stop at second. And this kicks away from Nelson, and everybody's going to move up, and that goes into. Oh man, that turned ugly.
I'm gonna let you score that.
Yeah, thanks. That just tied up the game. That was ugly baseball. It's throw that Nelson was cutting off, rightfully so, kicks away from him. So Sapelt goes to third, and then Nelson tried to hit a moving target, Mark Ellis, because Joey Votto was going to what he saw to be a vacant bag.
All right, there's your base hit to right. The throw comes in. One hops. He tries to scoop it. Runner advances on the throw by Smith. Then he's trying to lead Ellis, and he throws him a sinker, and he ends up at second. First error in his career at shortstop at the big league level, Chris Nelson. He had 6 total, 4 at third, 2 at second.
All right, I got to score this one for everybody.
Go ahead.
This is how this one gets scored. This is Dave Sapelt. He got on fielder's choice. He went to second on the base hit we just saw by Joey Votto. He went to third on the air. They're giving an error to Seth Smith for the short hop throw to Chris Nelson. Tough error. And then he scored when Nelson threw the ball into right field, so it's an E6. And it's a 1-1 baseball game. And again, I color it in. George writes an R
I want to see a color.
Right in your red there. Red works better than black.
You like red?
And now there's a runner at second. Sapelt with 1 out. Excuse me, Votto's at second with 1 out. Jay Bruce is at the plate. He's 0 for 2.
Renicky, the right-hander, and Reynolds, the left-hander, have both started to throw.
Three 3-0 on Bruce. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world if he loses him and set up a double play.
See, they have that pick play with Tulowitzki at second, but of course Nelson, they haven't ran it that much. Still making Votto somewhat a little shorter lead at second, so on a base hit to the outfield, you got a chance.
And ball 4. Well, we asked Jason Giambi how he learned how to score.
My dad. I think that's like every kid's dream, to go to the ball game with their dad and learn how to score, keep, and watch the game. And you know, I think that's where you develop this love for the game.
Well, Tommy Runnels, who's now the acting manager, Jim Tracy, tossed right behind Carlos Gonzalez by Mark Carlson last inning, arguing balls and strikes. So he'll make a move, and Chacin, who really pitched pretty well, is going to come out here in the 6th. It's never far away, and that means you better start saving right now. And the best way to do it is by contacting the folks at College Invest. CollegeInvest.org. They can get you going in just a handful of minutes. And it's not like you have to invest a ton of money initially. You can set up automatic withdrawal every month to CollegeInvest.org. You'll be glad you did when it's time to pay the college bills. Bob Apodaca, the longtime Rockies pitching coach, visiting with Jhoulys Chacin. He gives up 1 unearned run right now in the ball game. He's disappointed. He's a fiery competitor. And George, I thought for having been off, you know, in the neighborhood of 9 days. I thought he threw the baseball pretty well.
Yeah, he did. I thought he did pretty good. It looked to tire a little bit here in the 6th inning. Velocity dropped 86, 89. He'd been 90, 93 early in the ball game, but then the command faded away from him with those 2 walks in the inning.
So Matt Reynolds facing Juan Francisco with Votto at second, Jay Bruce at first. Drew Stubbs on deck. And Francisco, who flew out twice to deep center field, is behind 0-2.
Well, the left-hander making his 68th appearance on the season. Earned run average has climbed up a little bit of late. What you like to see coming out of the bullpen? Not many walks, just 16.
And Rosario blocks it, but moving up is Votto. You know, there's an art to blocking pitches. Guys work on it all the time, and it's not just, you know, they keep the ball out in front. You're trying to deaden it right in front of you because it's good base running by Votto. Because if it kicks away, you know, 10, 15 feet, you're going to get an advancement.
Yeah, that's the hard part when it catches. You know, it's kind of like bunting a baseball. When you're blocking a baseball, you want to try to catch it soft. You know, block it soft so it stays close to you. If you jab at a ball, it's going to ricochet off like a wall. But if you try to give a little bit with it, that's what helps deaden the baseball off the body.
And I'll tell you what, for me, Chris Ionetta is an artist at it. He is a tremendous blocker of the baseball. So Matt Reynolds gets the lefty. Drew Stubbs coming up. And Tommy Reynolds will ask for Josh Hrenicki. First and third in a 1-1 ball game. We're in the 6th inning. Time now for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well, they're celebrating how you all score a game. That first book was George's, and that's my color-coordinated book, or uncoordinated book, if you will. See, this guy has been here a number of times, and that's Kyle Bannister, who's an artist. I don't know, I can't read his book, George, but
I don't want to, but I can see that coming out. That looks a little bit like a little Troy Tuna whiskey. Got a little of the thing hanging out of the back of the hat.
Oh,
I'm seeing Todd come in. Look at the goatee.
Well, now I'm getting it a little bit.
Yeah. He's cheating. He's looking on the one behind.
Josh Hrenicki's on to try to get Drew Stubbs. Votto's at third, Bruce at first.
Now, you know his dad, first time to see him live pitching the big leagues this year. Scout with Baltimore is here at the ball game with a number of other scouts finishing up their work.
There's Gary right there with the leather jacket and a mustache.
John Wiles setting up above the gentleman with not a whole lot of hair. To his right, Pat Jones, who used to work from the Rockies, and then Renick's right there in the middle, and then to the right, Bob Schaefer, the dugout coach of the Dodgers just a year ago.
This gets away for a moment, and Rosario finds it. It was right underneath him. That's generally where it is for a catcher. Pull that mask up, you're looking all over the place, and it's right where you were. It's kind of that blind spot.
That's where, as a pitcher, particularly with a guy at third, you really got to unload on him and let him know where the ball is. You come in running and telling him in front of you as loud as you can.
2-0 on Stubbs. Talking to Jim Tracy about Renick before the ball game, and he's been very impressed with him. He's not afraid, pounds the strike zone with a better than average fastball, and he's got a pretty good breaking ball also.
Well, part of that is he's 29 years old. The other part, he's been with two big league organizations, Cincinnati, Toronto, so that nervousness is gone. And the thing that hindered him from being a part of the big leagues, I mean, and staying here, I think, was when they changed his delivery in Toronto at the start of spring training. Really messed him up, and it took a while to get it back with his arm action. The wildness had cost him time in the big leagues, a little of that flashing out right now with the 3-0 count.
But the Rockies have not seen that.
Change of scenery, change of uniform, change of a voice in your ear as a pitching coach.
And the 3-0 at 94 on the outside corner, so it's 3-1. Stubbs is single, and as you saw, a ground ball to short.
Really good pitch. Down, good plane, 93-mile-an-hour fastball with some cut to it. You know, even though his dad played for a number of years in the outfield, he was an outfielder in the big leagues. You know, you think that stomach getting grinding right now? Ring him up. I'll talk like a dad for a minute. Ring him up.
It was close. And now the bases are loaded for Ryan Hannigan. It's turned into a messy inning for the Rockies. 3 walks, just 1 hit in the inning. There have been 2 errors. That just missed. And Dad.
Yeah. He's getting encouragement from Bob Schaefer and everybody else. Where was that? Oh, gosh. It's rough on us dads.
Even at this level.
At every level. I don't care. Yeah. With Gabe, Zach, and Jacob, and all the rest of them at this level. Yeah, it's not good. Hey, the Reds as a team, 162 average. As Doug is informing, that's not very good with the bases loaded. He has it highlighted.
Hopefully it'll go down after this AB.
Yeah. Well, the guy at the plate's been one of the most successful. He's 3 for 5 with the bases loaded.
Nice job there blocking that slider in the dirt. It's 1-1. Votto singled. He's got the only hit in the inning. A run in. Again, 3 walks. 2 by Chacin. There have been 2 errors. Here's the 1-1 to Hannigan. No swing, according to Tim Timmons at first. Back up the middle, a base hit. One run is scored. Here comes Bruce to the plate. He'll score. And Ryan Hannigan's now 4 for 6 with the bases loaded. And the Reds have a 3-1 6th inning lead.
31 RBIs now for Hannigan also, and then Stubbs' speed puts him at third base in scoring position with 2 outs. Their club had struggled. We mentioned 162 as a team, but it was Hannigan who had hit 600. Comes through again with a line drive up the middle on a base hit. The height of this pitch, not bad, around knee high, but too much of the plate. And he shot it right by Renicky into center field.
Closes the book on CIN. He gives up 3 runs, 2 earned. Stubbs hustling back to third. Ball and a strike on Paul Janisch. The Rockies paying for an ugly inning.
A lot of errors, 2 errors in the inning so far for the Rockies.
And this is a base hit to left. Drew Stubbs scores. It's 4-1. So all 3 hitters have reached against Josh Renicky. And that'll bring up Homer Bailey.
Looked and appeared, that's just what I thought. Reached out off the end of the bat on his hard slider down and away and flipped it out of the reach of everybody. Brought in that 4th run to make it a 4-1 ball game.
And actually, let me correct something. Because of those last couple of hits, George, all those runs are now earned. Because they were errors that allowed advancement. They weren't errors that put a runner on base that shouldn't have been on. So all 3 runs are earned tonight against CIN in 5 1/3. One and one. I've always felt, George, you were a reliever. I've always felt the hardest position at times in baseball is a starting pitcher, because if you're not happy with your performance, it's a long 4 days, 5 days really, 4 days between starts, but 5 days till you get to try to rectify it.
Well, there's some guys love starting, you know, and they can handle disappointment and success both and have the days to enjoy or be disappointed. There's a lot of guys that can't. Finally get the strikeout and end the inning.
Well, the Reds hit around in a sloppy 6th inning, and they have a 4-1 lead. Cold hard blast, third inning. Chris Nelson hanging breaking ball, and Nelly hit it out to right center field against Homer Bailey. His third home run of the year. That gave the Rockies a 1-0 lead that just went away last half inning. 4-1 our score, bottom of the 6th inning. With George Frazier and Alana Rizzo, I'm Drew Goodman. As we have our scorebook night. Done this before, a lot of fun. About how we keep score. Alana Rizzo's downstairs. Alana?
Speaking of keeping score, guys, I found a Rockies fan that has been doing it since day one of the franchise. This is Jeff Best from Silver Plume, Colorado. It's not just the Rockies, though. He has been keeping score for 50 years. And, Jeff, first of all, how did you learn how to do it, and why has it become a passion for you?
My dad taught me how to score like this when I was about 6 years old. He taught me block lettering to be able to keep track of the players' names and the batting order. Then I started to add the averages, what they were batting during the season. These are hits, these black marks on my score sheet. Single here, home run for Nelson, double here.
You can go ahead and write down that Kevin Kuzminoff just got robbed. Now, you've been doing this for a very long time. However, you have some very memorable scorecards in there. Why don't you take me through one of the older ones that you have?
This score sheet is from 1986, and it's the Mets versus Boston in Game 6 of the World Series when Bill Buckner let the ball roll through his legs and Mookie Wilson reached first base, and the Mets came back from 2 runs down to score 3 runs in the 10th inning to send the series to Game 7.
Now, you grew up in Buffalo, New York, not a pro team there. You grew up a New York Yankees fan, but you've been a Rockies fan since day one. What are some of the memorable scorecards you have from this franchise?
I have a few here from the World Series of 2007. That I have one that shows Matt Holliday getting 4 hits in Game 2, and the whole team only got 5 hits, and Holliday had 4 of them. So my score sheets, by using the corners marked in for singles and so forth, show that Holliday had a great day where the rest of the team wasn't doing very well.
All right, a 4-for-4 day for Matt Holliday. Seth Smith. Darn it. I was going to hope that you could write down a home run for Seth Smith and we can watch him running around the bases. But it's been a pleasure meeting you at your scorecard. Everybody's scorecard is so unique. You have your own way of doing it. Now I'm going to go over to my right and quickly check in with Kyle Bannister once again. And Kyle, we've been checking in with you all night long, and I'm starting to see a little bit of the goatee as this whole thing transforms into this. So obviously it's Todd Helton, as if you've been watching with us all night, but it's creative. Now, are you doing it? Are you filling it in as the inning goes? Are you waiting for the next inning to come?
No, I'm just working on it through the inning. Got to pace yourself.
All right, well, it's absolutely beautiful. We will continue to check in with you. And, Jeff, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. It's been neat to witness history with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back to yes.
Alana, tell Kyle to put a single by Helton's nose.
Go ahead and put a single by Helton's nose, I'm going to tell you. All right, guys. Look, and by the way, I made sure that he showed you the scorecard of the Mets-Boston series because I wanted to do that for Drew Goodman, who grew up a Mets fan, and also just to rub it in our director's face, Mike Fox, who is a Red Sox fan, guys.
Mike wasn't born when the ball went through Billy Buck's legs. Thanks, Alana.
Thank you.
Willeen Rosario at the plate. Speaking of our baseball heroes doing different things, did you get this one, Frej? Joe Morgan, the Hall of Famer, who you know well. You know, what did Joe was 5'7". He hit with a lot of power. He's a great player, obviously. What was he also famous for when he was at the plate?
Flapped the arm.
Right, it kind of looked like a chicken wing, right?
Flapped it.
Well, that's high on Rosario. Next week, he's hosting the world's largest chicken dance at Oktoberfest in Cincinnati. Just wanted to let you know.
So you go from Sunday night baseball to the chicken dance? I'm in.
He's now working in the front office with the Reds as well. 2-0 on Rosario. Rockies trailing 4-1. Smith at first with one out. Chris Nelson's on deck. How are we doing in Modesto?
Down 2-0 right now. I'm reading all these things, these texts from my wife. Things not going too good. Quail Paint and the Rockies want to thank fans on Friday night with a post-game fireworks and special giveaways between innings. Lottery Fan Appreciation Day. Not good. We're down 2-0. I'm reading my wife's texts, and I'm not sure what all this means. Gave up a hit, then a walk. Then they hit the ball to the third baseman. He tried to tag the runner and missed. Then there was a fly out, and now a hit. Whatever all that means. You score that at home. I won't read you what else she wrote.
You better not.
No, it wouldn't be good. So I guess a hit, a walk, and then a ground ball to third. Tried to tag and missed. And then through to first.
I had a great one the other day. This ball loud to the left fielder, and he almost misplayed it. Dave Chappelle came running in. That thing was scorched. So a line out to left by Rosario. That'll bring up Nelson. One of my boys in the game said, he was walk, hit by pitch, and then it said double, and then some other stuff, and I said, so he doubled his third time up later on when I was talking to her. She said, no, he started a 6-4-3 double play.
God love him. I mean, really. Yeah, they're doing the best they can.
Yeah, that's right.
Between concession stands and chasing
driving
guys
a ball over the map.
Yeah, sure, right, exactly. Doing laundry for the game tomorrow. Escalona and Matt Belisle going.
Yeah, Edgemer's back with the club. He was activated today. Nelson a home run and the intentional walk. Well, you know what, the anniversary, this is the 1-year anniversary, George, of Chris Nelson against the Reds steal at home. Jim Tracy was in the dugout saying, where is he going?
Everybody was. It wasn't just Jim Tracy. Are you not? That's like the guy that takes the three, and he's the guy that never shoots the basketball in the game. And as he pulls up to shoot the three, you can hear the coach screaming, no. And it goes in, and he goes, yes, atta baby. Well, that was kind of like Jim Tracy's probably going, what is he doing, atta baby? It was one of those. Yeah.
Give him a high five as he ran by. Atta baby. Way to go. 2-2. Strikeout of Nelson ends the inning. Smith left aboard. We will go to the 7th. 4-1 Cincinnati. Top of the order for the Reds. Lexus look back in the third inning. Chris Nelson against Homer Bailey led the inning off with a home run. Unfortunately, that's the entire Rockies offense tonight. And in the sixth inning, Joey Chacin give up a walk and then a base hit to Joey Votto, and then the Rockies had some trouble throwing the baseball. Chris Nelson couldn't handle that throw, and then he threw it right back to Seth Smith. Held scored, and then Ryan Hannigan, 2 outs, bases loaded against Josh Renicky, would single in 2 more. And after that, Paul Janisch would single in a run. And the Reds hit around in the 6th. They lead it 4-1. That's the Cooney Lexus look back. Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Edgmer Escalona will take over.
Yeah, good to see him back out too, because he's really pitched well for the Rockies. And his work coming out of the bullpen, a lot of extended innings. Wasn't quite used to that. Came up a little bit sore. You know, he was throwing 3 innings there for about 4 straight outings in a row. 17 2/3 on the season over 7 appearances, 14 hits, 9 strikeouts. He's given up 3 home runs, but the opponents have hit just 212.
And Escalona's first pitch is inside at 93, ball 1 on Phillips. Phillips walked last inning leading off the 6th. And that was the first walk allowed by Chacin. He'd walk Jay Bruce a few hitters later, and that was the last batter he faced. Cincinnati is set on the right side of the infield with Votto and Phillips. Phillips is going into an option year. It's a team option, so they'll obviously pick that up. And Phillips would like to get extended. They've done that with Jay Bruce. They did that with Joey Votto. And he's been pretty forward about that.
Question marks whether Dusty Baker would be back, but if he's not, they owe him $4.5 million. So I anticipate Dusty Baker and his crew of coaches that have been together for a long time will all be back next year and try to rectify what happened this year and try to have a healthy pitching staff. I asked Chris Spire, a former teammate of mine with the Cubs, what went wrong. Is there one thing to point at? That's the gentleman right to the right of Dusty. That you could point to say, you know, he said starting pitching, no question. He said if we would have had solid starting pitching, health in our pitching staff, we feel we could have continued and obviously done a pretty nice job. Their team ERA is 17th in the National League.
Dex can't get it, and Brandon Phillips is going to have a leadoff double. Well, kind of like the Rockies, George, and we said this when we were at Great American Ballpark, the 2 seasons have mirrored one another. The Reds won the division last year. The Rockies thought they were going to have outstanding starting pitching this year. The Reds thought they'd have outstanding starting pitching. As you look at Phillips' swing,
I think he thought he had a home run because he wasn't in a full sprint coming around first base. And as the ball died at the outfield, he ends up at second.
Chris Byard.
He's having a whole lot of fun right now, isn't he? Chris Iannetta was running into the dugout in case they would have to make a double switch with the pitcher leading off next inning, and I think Chris bit the dust on the way into the dugout, and that's what Chris Spire was laughing about. In baseball terms, folks, when people would fall down, you'd hear the sniper got him. You know, the guy in the upper deck snuck in on him, the little man in the grass type syndrome.
1-0 on Sapelt. Now he lays down a good bunt. Escalona just did get it to first in time to Ellis. Mark was hoping he didn't have to reach into the path of Sapelt. He gets the sack bunt down. Phillips to third. Votto coming up.
Everything was done perfectly by the Reds and defensively by the Rockies. Here's Drew scoring.
And I actually, I do it, put it in red, so it stands out in my book, and I know that it wasn't.
See how you did? That's good. Red. See how I did that for you? Is that sweet or what?
That's great.
Okay.
Worked
now
out well.
See, I went away fast too. You used a quick eraser.
Votto with the infield in. But you look at the Reds. Edinson Volquez has been sent out twice. He's going to pitch on Sunday.
And that's a big arm, and an arm they had really counted on this year, but he didn't throw enough strikes. 55 walks in 85 innings. His hits down were good. Bronson Arroyo, another guy that unfortunately kept him in a lot of games. So he's battled injuries but wouldn't go on the DL. He had lower back problems. He had some shoulder industry. So, I mean, he fought a lot of things, but, you know, credit him for staying on the roster, staying not, you know, in a position to pitch, because he's gone out and made 28 starts this year and thrown 174 and 2/3 innings.
But he's 8-11 with a 5 ERA. That misses. Last year, Arroyo 17-10 with a 3.88. The year before, he won 15 games with a 3.84. So, you know, Volquez, you're expecting to be a dominant type starter. You expect, again, Arroyo to do his thing. And it's kind of like the Rockies. Jimenez got off to the poor start this year. And then obviously the elbow injury to Jorge De La Rosa. Three and 1, the count now on Votto. 3-2. Votto's been the best road hitter in the National League this year at .343. Pretty quiet guy. Very focused, very talented. Native of Toronto. And a strikeout of Votto by Escalona.
Now, you don't see that often. That was a really, really, really ugly swing by Joey Votto on a very good fastball on that inner half. That just ate him up. It wasn't anywhere near what Rosario wanted. You could see he wanted to pitch away. But he reacted in and caught this baseball when it just blew by Votto.
Yeah, that's not a typical Joey Votto swing.
Normally he would take that pitch. I don't think he saw it out of the hand. Brooke Jacoby, their hitting coach, visiting with Joey Votto right now. This team is like all my ex-teammates except for Barry. I mean, played all these guys. It's amazing. Hatcher was with the Cubs. He was with the Indians. Spire with the Cubs. Guys everywhere.
0-2 on Jay Bruce.
Brooke Jacoby, a very good third baseman in his own right. Hatcher, a very good hitting outfielder, made his fame mostly with the Houston Astros. Coaches first base now for Dusty Baker.
A few years ago, wasn't Billy with Lou in Tampa?
For a short time he was there. He was also in Chicago for a little bit and then settled in here in Cincinnati. He's been there ever since.
Here's the 1-2, and Bruce hits it in the air well to right center field. Can Dexter get there? You bet. Fowler tracks it down for the third out in the 7th inning, and Brandon Phillips is left at third. But the Reds have a 4-1 lead. Stretch time at Coors Field. TNT trivia question once again. Who are the first starting battery mates to homer in the same game for the Rockies? As you know, it happened the other day. Kevin Millwood going deep on the same day Willeen Rosario hit his first career home run. That's the first time it's ever happened. A little trick question. Huh?
That was tricky. Again.
Chris Iannetta hitting for Escalona. He hits a fly ball to Jay Bruce. Chris is retired, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Strike one on Dex. One for two and hit by a pitch. And that's a strike. Well, Tri-City's in the postseason also. They're in the championship series with Vancouver, and they're trailing 3-1 in the second inning. Ball game in Tri-City, and games 2 and 3, if necessary, will be in Vancouver. A lot of long bus rides in that league.
Long bus rides. The Nuts trail now 4-0. They've gotten 2 runs on a couple of hits here in the fourth. So Parker, you got to do a little better so Dad doesn't chew on you so hard. Just teasing.
Dexter's thrown out, 2 gone. Mark Ellis will come up as we take a look at our CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Homer Bailey at 95, and Chacin also hit 95 in the ball game. Ty Wigginton is on deck. Wigginton came into the ballgame for Carlos Gonzalez, who was ejected. How about the crowd tonight? 40,114.
Well, and I know high school football has to be going on right now, so I mean, even this many people showing up. I mean, a little short in the upper deck, but the rock pile and everywhere else around. I think a lot of people bought tickets in advance during the season, thinking these 2 clubs may be battling for obviously top of their division. So they wanted to see the Cincinnati Reds play as they came in late, very late into Coors Field this year.
Two and two.
Matt Lundstrom, the right-hander, is warming up for the Rockies in the bullpen.
Arizona won yesterday. Ian Kennedy won his 19th.
And let's see, we got one 20-game winner, 22-game winner, and Verlander in the American League. Now Kennedy would look likely get his 20th the way he's pitched this year.
And Homer Bailey, this is as good as we've seen him pitch. 4-1. He and the Reds lead. Tomorrow, right here on Root Sports, start the day off with the in-state rivalry, Iowa and Iowa State. Hawkeyes and Cyclones, and then that'll be followed by the Rainbow Warriors in Seattle to take on the Huskies of the University of Washington in the nightcap. It'll be a Conference USA tilt between UTEP and SMU. So park the channel right here on Root Sports tomorrow. Boy, that's really coming together nicely. That is good stuff. Matt Lindstrom will take over. Juan Francisco up to lead things off for Cincinnati in the 8th inning. Reds up 4-1. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Alana Rizzo. Check in again with Alana in a moment. One ball, one strike.
'56th appearance for Mr. Lindstrom, 47 1/3, 47 hits on this season. Thought I'd see more strikeouts this year. Hard thrower, 94 to 98, good slider.
Two on Francisco. There's some young bats they're really high on. This being one of them. Kid who's not in the lineup tonight, Yonder Alonso. He's tearing the cover off the ball. Former #1 pick out of the University of Miami. The problem with Alonso, George, is he may not have a position. Yonder. I mean, he played third base at the University of Miami. They started working him out there a little bit. Played some left field. There's a chance for Kuzminoff, but he doesn't move well.
No, you know, he doesn't have the range of Pablo Sandoval, but kind of that swing. You know, very aggressive swing at everything.
Yep. Let's check in again with Alana.
All right, guys. Well, in case somebody at home missed our broadcast, didn't have an opportunity to score the game or learn how if they wanted to, you can do it for the next game. We'll have another broadcast on Sunday. You can follow along with us. And here are the steps to keep and score. The first one, ready your card. Start with a blank slate and get ready to write in all of the players' names. And, of course, learn the code. Shorthand includes learning the position numbers. Of course, right field is a 9. The pitcher's a number 1. And batter shorthand, a single. That's a 1B for me, a triple 3B, a walk BB for base on balls. And then follow your game. Stay involved as a fan. It helps you keep paying attention and make it your own. No two scorecards, as we've learned tonight, guys, are alike. Use your own creativity and design your own card. It can be a lot of fun. Keeps me involved in the game for sure.
And that's, you know, he made that scorecard up on the way in. Stole some of his kids' loose leaf paper. 2-strike count on Drew Stubbs. 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. Stubbs hitting in front of Ryan Hannigan. All 4 Cincinnati runs in the 6th inning. The Rockies only run a home run by Chris Nelson. Playing shortstop tonight for Troy Tulowitzki, who has a little bit of soreness in his left hip. Stubbs is gone. 2 outs.
A big course field tomorrow for Colorado Lottery Mega Millions Day. Selected fans will win prizes courtesy of the Colorado Lottery. By the way, I'll be first to say it. Tonight wasn't the night for Parker Frazier. The Nuts trail in the ball game now. I believe he was relieved down 5-0. It's now 8-0 Nuts. I don't know who came in, checking in the computer now. So see if they can battle back and get into this. Be a long night on the phone tonight, Drew. Just so you know.
Not the first time. Not the first time.
Oh, you are not kidding. Let me tell you. Was relieved by Luis Gomez, who's had a nice job coming and working hard out of the bullpen with a couple of guys on base. And Michael Choice, who was the California League leader of home runs, hit a home run off of Gomez with 2 men on.
Doesn't he have a brother playing college football?
It's either college football or pro football. Choice, a Mississippi State running back. That's what I was told when I was out in Stockton watching the games.
You tell me, he's a good-looking prospect.
Oh, he's the #1 draft pick. Great prospect out of Texas, Arlington. University of Texas, Arlington.
2-2 on Hannigan.
Well, for the Nuts, who didn't play well in the first half, played well in the second half. A lot of guys, Nolan Arenado, big-time RBIs. Did a great job there. Kip Mathis was the most valuable player of the Cal League. Chad Bettis, pitcher of the year.
Dexter will grab it. A 1-2-3 inning for Lindstrom. Todd Helton will be coming up this inning. Rockies trailing 4-1. Tech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Rocky's got a home run in the 3rd from Chris Nelson. Chacin was pitching very well till the 6th. He walked a man, actually walked 2 men, and gave up a hit. Rockies made a couple errors, and then the bullpen had trouble getting out of that 6th inning. Ultimately, 4 runs scored for Cincinnati. That's where we stand, 4-1 on our Ecotech game summary. And it is still Homer Bailey on the mound here in the 8th inning. First at bat for Ty Wigginton. Carlos Gonzalez was 0 for 3 in his last at bat. He didn't like a called strike on him, and I showed that a little bit with Mark Carlson, and nothing was done at that point. The at bat continued. Ultimately, it ended in a strikeout. Jim Tracy was chewing on Mark Carlson as well. And then after Carr was in the dugout, all of a sudden in the midst of the next at bat, Carlson took his mask off and threw out Gonzalez. Tracy came charging out of the dugout. They had a long to do, though Trace was thrown out pretty quickly. And as we like to say in baseball, he ended up getting his money's worth. So that's why Wigginton is at the plate right now. First AB, here's the 1-2 pitch. Line drive center field. Stubbs reaches up, makes the catch. And that'll bring up Helton. Todd's 0 for 3.
But he is just about done with it, isn't he? I've seen you draw. You could do that.
Yeah, I could do that if I stole his scorecard and called it my own. He's got talent. I don't. You know what?
That's not what Gabe told me. You've helped him well, very good with all of his homework in the first, second grade on the art side of things.
Can you draw it all?
No.
You sing better than I do.
I do that, yes. Country and Western, though.
I don't know if that's saying much.
Country and Western.
That's pretty neat. 2-1 the count on Help. Todd, his first year in the big leagues was 97. He got 93 at bats that year, hit 280. His first full year was 98 when he was second in the Rookie of the Year voting to Kerry Woody at 315. He's hit over 300 every year, save 08 when he was hurt, hit 264. Last year when he was hurt, hit 256. A 306 average coming in tonight. And this is going to hang up in the air and be chased down by Jay Bruce. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Kuzminov.
Well, let's not take anything away from Homer Bailey. He's pitched well in this ball game. Unfortunately, you know, he's had some great plays made behind him in this game also, particularly right field. There's the signature. Maybe he'll send that up to the press box. I'm begging. And we could frame that and put it in here in our press box. That'd be kind of neat to have up here. Where's Alana? Alana, go see him, please.
And Bailey hits Kuzminov. Fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 720-720. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. And Dusty, after that last pitch, number 113, is going to take the baseball from Homer Bailey, but not before telling him, job well done. And here comes Aroldis Chapman with the largest pitcher's glove I've ever seen. formally introduces you to the new faces on the Rockies and take a look at what one of your favorite ex-Rockies, Quentin McCracken, is up to these days. It's Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy Sunday after the ball game.
I love reading those when they do those kind of things in the newspaper. Herb Moss does one every week in a different post about guys that have performed and done different things and still live here in the community.
Q is a sharp guy. Q was at a Duke.
Yeah, running back too. Graduated in 4 years. That's unheard of just for a guy not playing, not a part of athletics. To graduate in 4 years and to do it at Duke, that's something special for him.
And playing 2 sports.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, this guy throws hard, George. I don't know if you heard of him. Aroldis Chapman.
I did. I heard he throws really hard. The first pitch was at 98 miles an hour to Seth Smith.
George, does he not have the largest glove you've ever seen for a pitcher?
Yeah, he must have big hands trying to hide the baseball. 97 with that heater. It's huge. Well, a gifted young left-hander, that's for sure.
And again, George and I were discussing it earlier. They want to put him in the rotation next year.
Well, if you're going to not use him as the closer for your team, you know, Cordero has done a wonderful job. 321 career saves. He ties Jose Mesa now. He needs one more save for that. He's had 23 1-2-3 innings. He's got a club option for next year with Cincinnati. He's done everything as a closer. So if you're not going to use this young man and his velocity and his arm in a closing role, why not start him? He had started throughout his career in Cuba before defecting and coming here.
Now, there's a big question about Cordero because the club option for him next year is at $12 million. The buyout's $1 million.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I have to say about that, I think if the Arizona Diamondbacks would have had their bullpen the way it is now, the way it's set up now, they probably would have been in a lot better position a year ago because they didn't need a bullpen. Well, now it is. That last fastball hit a hundy. 1-0-0. C note. Say it however you want. It's hard.
He's hit, as crazy as this sounds, 105. Oh boy.
That was a Yahoo at 101.
That'll make you take a walk. That's
where you turn around and go, did that almost hit me? I heard it, but I didn't really see it till right there. And it was by me.
Yeah, we never talk about this. We always talk about the hitter and his perspective. It can't be all that easy to catch either if you're Ryan Hannigan.
No, it can't be. Yet what gets you a little bit about Chapman, you look at him, he's 4-1, and you'd think throwing 101 miles an hour that, you know, he'd just blow everybody away, but he has a 371 earned run average, 43 innings. He's only given up 22 hits, though. He has struck out 64, but he's walked 35 now.
And what was it? They signed him for $30 million, George?
Over 5 years, $30 million. They won the sweepstakes. And of course, about halfway through, you ask yourself, or did we really win it? You hope you have the answers yes.
Well, that's why going back to making him a starter, if he's not your closer, he's got to be your starter. You can't have $30 million guys thrown in the 7th inning.
No, you can't. I mean, you're paying a guy $5 million, $6 million to do that. It's an escalated type contract.
Rosario with a 1-strike count. And he didn't look good on that pitch at 99. 0-2.
I doubt that I doubt that he has seen many 99-mile-an-hour fastballs. There was a young man from Springfield that pitched in the Cardinal organization, made a start in the big leagues, Clado, that ran it to 99 miles an hour, right-hander with a nasty slider. He finished the year in AAA in Memphis.
2-strike count. Rosario got ready a little earlier there and was on that fastball. Also at 99. Smith at first, Kuzman off at second. Chapman has given up just 2 home runs. Rockies trailing in the bottom of the 8th, 4-1. Strike 3. Went back to the slider and he froze him. So Aroldis Chapman gets the final out of the 8th inning. Rockies leave 2 aboard. We'll go to the 9th, 4-1 Reds. On Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Sonic, you've got 2 hands for a reason. Put the chicken coney in one and the bacon and blue dog in the other. They're new and only at Sonic for $1.99. By Verizon, America's largest and most reliable wireless network. And by Pizza Hut, get any pizza, any size, any toppings for just $10 when you carry out. Pretty night at 20th and Blake in front of a crowd of more than 40,000. The Rockies in the 9th inning trail the Reds 4-1. Check in with Tom Helmer. Tom?
Drew, we're going to start with a short story as we talk about Chris Nelson, his debut tonight at shortstop. We'll talk about him offensively and defensively. We'll also talk about 6 sliding away, the 6th innings where it went south for the Rockies. The Reds got all the runs in that inning. Of course, we'll get you down into the clubhouse. How's the scoring going, by the way? Is that going well?
Well, I mean, it's going well, but it's going better from a Reds perspective. That's the problem.
Sure, I mean, yeah, scoring-wise. But, I mean, actually, it was a good night to learn how to score because there were, you know, some scoring oddities tonight. A lot of the ball getting thrown around quite a bit.
Tom, as they say, we had some stuff happening.
Some stuff happened. I saw some stuff happen in a Texas-Oakland game earlier this week. It was a 9-3 putout.
You know what? Jeff Francoeur the other night. Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah, it was a little league out at first base there.
Yeah, that can happen to a pitcher, but when it happens to a position player, it ain't good. He's gonna take some heat.
I saw a 7-3 happen to Sean Casey when he was a Tiger. He thought it was caught by the shortstop. It went all the way to left field. The bench yelled for him to run. He got thrown out from left field to first.
That's not good, Tom.
It's kind of tough to live down.
I haven't written that one yet. 7-3.
It might be a long time before you do.
Exactly. All right, Tom.
All right, guys.
We'll check back in a little bit. Paul Janisch will face Greg Reynolds here in the top of the 9th. And that's fouled off and out of play.
Well, Greg making his 9th appearance. He started a few ball games, higher run average, but just come in and try to show people what you can do. 10 walks, 25 innings, 12 strikeouts. The number kind of jumps out, a home run over 6+ innings.
Hard sinkers inside, 1-1. See, now in the 6th inning, say Janisch had a base hit. I get that. What's that dot up there?
RBI.
That's what that is. It's an RBI. Now, I don't use a dot system. I actually write, 2 RBI or 3 RBI. It's the only time, by the way, I don't say RBIs. Remember that show earlier this year. Use dots, Frazier?
No. Because I keep the RBIs on the left side, so I just scratch out and add to it to know that he had 2 RBIs on that night. Or more, depending on how many he ends up with.
Greg Reynolds freezes Paul Janisch. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass 303-287-5000 online at safelight.com. And Yonder Alonso, who we were talking about earlier, he's originally from Cuba, defected with his family, and went to high school in South Florida and also the University of Miami. One and 0. Talking about trying to find a position for Yonder Alonso. Right now they just say what position does he play? They say hitter.
Real good hitter.
Real good hitter. He's hitting .429 in his starts, and that's why they're trying to find a place to play him in the field. He uses the whole ballpark. Billy Hatcher there greeting him. 1 out, 1 on. Top of the order again, Brandon Phillips, who's 1 for 3 in a walk. He doubled in his last AB.
Dusty trying to add on to make it a grand slam to tie. He'll pinch run.
So it'll be Valleca. All right, this is interesting. Let's pretend this box. We'll make the single here. This is what I do for Alonso. We all know that. But since he's pinch hitting, he hasn't been up before. I make a hard line. I'm trying to do this on the left side. There you go. So I make another line there, George, so it's bold. And I know that this was a line. And then in the, to the left, I'd put Alonso pinch hit 9th inning. And so then I know where that line is, that's where he pinch hit. Now all of a sudden we also have a pinch runner. This happens a lot with Giambi. So I'll put a half a line this way on an angle, and then below Alonso I write Valleca P-PR 9th inning. He pinch ran.
So what are you putting that little slash down there in the corner?
I don't put anything. It just indicates to me that the first part was where Alonso pinch hit. The second part is we had a pinch runner for him. And as I said, those who score at home, this happens a lot. When Giambi pinch hits and he gets on late in the ball game, and Trace will go and put in a pinch runner for him.
Well, I just highlight the guys a little different than what Drew's doing. I highlight, and out by Alonso I write down PH for pinch hit, and Valleca I write down PR. And then I highlight those guys in my book, so I obviously know that he came in my eye, and I came in a pinch ran.
And also, we haven't talked about this, but you and I and Huey, when Huey's doing the ball games, you keep your scorebook just as they do in the dugout, where you put a line through the extras, so you know when we get one of those crazy games, that got Phillips on the hand. When you get one of those crazy extra inning games, and you're trying to figure out who's left and who's available, you've crossed guys out, so you can look and say, okay, clearly there's only one guy left in the bullpen, and 1 or 2 guys left on the bench in terms of position players.
And that's why you do it, so you can match up your bullpens with who you think's going to pitch or hit, who they may bring in. For Tracy, you see there that when Gonzalez got knocked out, then Wigginton went in. Bailey's out, so you have a line through him. Chacin's out. Ionetta's been hit for. Wigginton has been in the ball game. Alonso pinch hit. Chapman has came in, and you can see all the lines through the guys in the bullpen, so it gives them an idea who's still left down there.
Ground ball to third. See if the Rockies can twist one. They'll be able to do it. 5-4-3 on the turn. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies will need a significant rally. They trail 4-1. The Colorado Rockies may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Well, we go to the 9th inning. The Rockies trailing 4-1. They've been out hit 8-6 in this ball game. Both teams have made a couple of miscues, and Francisco Cordero with more than 300 lifetime saves.
Yeah, right
be
now
looking for another one.
321 lifetime saves, tied with Jose Mesa. And also, I mean, for the most saves, which I found kind of interesting when I started reading the statistics about Mesa and his accomplishments and what he has done in a Reds uniform and throughout baseball. He's 31 saves this year, 18 of them he's retired and had a 1-2-3 inning. 234 earned run average, just 42 hits and 61 2/3. But 13th on the list, 5 behind Roberto Hernandez. But if he wins and saves this game tonight, he will become the all-time saves leaders among Dominican pitchers, Dominican-born pitchers.
Chris Nelson takes ball 1. See Lodge Casino scoreboard going by. Detroit won again, 8-4 over Minnesota. Nelson has provided the Rockies with their only run, a home run, back in the 3rd inning. And an easy play for the shortstop, Giannis. Rockies go to their bench here in the pitcher spot. Jordan Pacheco will pinch hit. Jordan's done a nice job in his first 2 games offensively. He's upset that he's made a couple of errors, but he has hit the ball very hard. A couple of hits, a couple of RBIs in his first ball game. He lined out twice in his 2nd game.
Well, in fairness to him, too. 7 games in his career at third base, 2 of them in the big leagues.
Yep. And that was a nasty slider just off the outside corner. And Pacheco breaks his bat deep short. Nice play by Giannis.
Yeah, traveling, if you are out there traveling, subscribe to MLB.tv to see every Rockies game on your computer or favorite device. Visit ColoradoRockies.com and order now.
That'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter is 1 for 3, and he was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. Homer Bailey, pitcher of record on the plus side for Cincinnati. And Jhoulys Chacín, who started for the Rockies, gave up 3 runs in 5 1/3. He's the pitcher of record on the south side. Here's the 1-0. 1-1. No television tomorrow. Alex White for the Rockies against Bronson Arroyo. Out of play down the left field line. And then on Sunday, the major league debut of Drew Pomeranz. We'll have the ball game for you right here on Root Sports. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I got a chance to sit down with him today. You'll be able to see that interview Sunday in the pregame show.
Edinson Volquez, his return to the big leagues, will pitch for Cincinnati. That was originally going to be Dontrelle Willis. They've pushed Willis back to Monday. Willis has been a good story, George. He's pitching much better than his record. He's 0-5.
Right.
He's kept him in every ball game he's thrown, pretty much. And he's throwing strikes again.
What he's doing, he's throwing a lot of BP fastballs. In other words, 83, 86, and he goes and gets that 92 when he needs to get the out. So he's pitching now, where before he really relied on a fastball, 92, 95, and a big sweeping slider.
Rockies down to their last out, 2-2 on Fowler. And that's all for the Rockies tonight. So in this first matchup here at Coors Field 2011 against the Reds, Cincinnati prevails 4-1. Cordero picks off his 32nd save. And now the all-time saves leader among Dominican-born pitchers. The victory goes to Homer Bailey. He's now 8-7. And the loss for Yoeli Chacin is his 11th. He's 11-11 on the season. Once again, the final score, Cincinnati wins it 4-1 tonight. Tonight's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. And Homer Bailey, in his finest performance ever against the Rockies, goes 7 2/3. He allows that one run. The home run by Chris Nelson, 6 hits in all. Walked just once, struck out a half dozen. Very fine performance by the former #1 Homer Bailey. Cincinnati 4, the Rockies 1 in front of 40+ thousand. Stick around, the postgame show's next.